Have you ever noticed how incredibly fast our world rockets forward with technology,
Mhm.
yet sometimes the core processes driving that innovation just, well, they don't keep up?
Oh, definitely. It's a fascinating and honestly often frustrating paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
The tools accelerate, the possibilities expand, but the underlying ways we do things often lag behind. We end up with these inefficiencies that we've sort of uh, come to accept as normal.
You nailed it. And that brings us really to our mission today,
Yeah.
a deep dive into the extraordinary insights of Neville Roy Singham. He's the visionary founder of Thoughtworks Inc.
Right.
We've pulled from an overview of Singham's unique background and, crucially, a really revealing interview. It's from 2007, where he unpacks his, well, pretty groundbreaking philosophy on software development and even organizational structure.
Yeah, and our goal for this deep dive is basically to extract the absolute core ideas, what truly makes software development efficient, innovative, and maybe fundamentally human-centric.
Think of it as a shortcut, maybe.
Exactly, a shortcut to grasping a radically different way of approaching tech and work. And I think you're going to hear some pretty surprising contrasts between the traditional methods and Singham's perspective, which was quite forward-thinking.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. First, who is Roy Singham? I mean, what do the sources tell us?
Well, they describe him as a global renowned IT thought leader. He had over 2 decades of experience then, back in 2007.
Okay.
And we're talking serious executive management experience across a really dizzying array of industries: insurance, mortgage, energy, leasing, retail, and of course, software development itself.
Oh, that's broad.
It is. And this wasn't just theory, right? He directed these huge multi-million-dollar projects for major clients, Caterpillar Financial Services, Dixon's Group, Progressive Insurance, Transamerica. Big names.
Right.
But what really stands out from his profile is his distinctive management style. It seems to be this powerful combination, like deep study of emerging tech, this uncanny ability to build highly motivated teams, strong personal determination, and a real innovative flair. That's a pretty rare blend in any leader.
It really is. And it's worth noting, I think he eventually sold Thoughtworks in 2017.
Right.
Which actually lends even more weight to these earlier insights we're exploring.
Yeah.
They're from a time when he was actively, shaping the company's direction.
Good point.
So speaking of Thoughtworks, where did the name Thoughtworks even come from? This story, I have to say, kind of blew me away.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? And this comes directly from Singham himself in that interview.
Good.
He talked about this pivotal moment back in the early 1990s. He heard a speech by Dee Hock, the founder of Visa.
Oh, wow.
And Hock presented this incredibly prescient idea. He said, look, if the 19th century was all about manufacturing and hardware.
Right, the Industrial Revolution stuff.
Exactly. Then the 21st century, Hock predicted, would undeniably be the century of thoughtware.
Thoughtware. That clicks, doesn't it?
It really does. And Singham apparently completely embraced it. He said he envisioned creating a company built around that very idea, one that would emphasize both heart and head, focusing relentlessly on putting these cutting-edge ideas into practical, working solutions.
So that's how Thoughtworks was born.
That's what he said. It's a name that perfectly encapsulates their whole mission right from the start.
Yeah, it really does. It speaks to this deep belief in, the power of intellect combined with ethical intent.
And this vision, it seems, translated directly into Thoughtworks structure, which was, well, remarkably unique.
Oh, yeah. Their structure truly was maybe ahead of its time. They were actively working towards a flat organization, which even today is something a lot of companies talk about, but really struggle to genuinely implement.
True.
But the aspect that really makes you lean in is their global rotation program for employees. That was wild.
This is where Singham actually claimed no company does this. And think about it. At one point, 30% of thought workers had worked in countries other than their home country.
30%.
Yeah. And get this. A staggering 20% would live or work outside their home country every single year.
Wow.
This wasn't just some, nice perk. It was a deliberate, strategic move. They wanted to foster cross-cultural understanding, accelerate knowledge transfer.
Expose engineers to different problems.
It's exactly. All contributing directly to their ability to innovate and manage variations in their work, as he might put it. It's just a bold commitment to talent development that you still rarely see on that kind of scale.
That's a really powerful commitment to, global perspective and skill building. He did, however, express one regret.
Oh, what was that?
not managing to recruit many women leaders into the company itself. But he offered an interesting counterpoint. He noted that their Thoughtworks University, the training program for new recruits,
Yeah.
it actually had more women than men.
That's interesting. It sort of raises that question about how sometimes early-stage talent development can outpace diversity higher up, right?
Yeah, the pipeline problem, as they call it.
Exactly. Successfully bringing diverse junior talent in, but then failing to retain and promote them to leadership. Singham's observation suggests this isn't exactly a new challenge.
Seems not.
But shifting focus a bit, how did Thoughtworks actually approach the process of software development itself? What made them different there?
Well, Singham asserted pretty confidently that Thoughtworks achieved a high level of innovation in the actual software process. He really positioned them as leaders in that space. But here's where it gets even more insightful, I think. He believed there was still a lot of scope for improvement for the software processes to become mainstream globally.
So, the best practices weren't widespread enough.
Exactly. He even noted that only a very small percentage of software had really broken out of, local or regional practices. He implied this vast, untapped potential for global adoption of more advanced methods.
That really highlights his view that even though the software industry was growing fast, its core development processes hadn't really achieved the kind of global optimization and efficiency they could. And he drew this really compelling analogy here. He said, the IT industry has a lot to learn from Toyota.
Toyota, the manufacturing revolution.
Precisely, which, as we know, completely changed car manufacturing. He wasn't just making a casual comparison. He seemed to imply a deep need for a similar, paradigm-shifting transformation in how software is built.
That comparison to Toyota is fascinating because, it implies this level of systematic efficiency we rarely associate with software development, even now.
Totally.
And what's particularly striking is his very strong criticism of the big software companies of the time.
Yeah.
He didn't pull any punches, did he?
No, he really didn't. He said they were basically not bothered about efficiency, that they were focusing instead on just increasing their headcount.
Just throwing more people at the problem.
Right. Rather than fundamentally improving their methods. And he argued this approach was actually hurting the productivity of the human society.
That's a huge claim.
It's a bold claim, but his reasoning was incredibly clear. He said, look, software can be developed much faster than the amount of time the big companies take.
Okay, why? What was the bottleneck?
The speed of change. He pointed out that the market and user need seemingly change too rapidly. As he put it, nobody is going to wait for a company to build software in 2 years. The market and the needs are set to change in these 2 years.
We've all seen that happen, right? That multi-year project that's basically obsolete before it even launches.
Exactly. So his point really hits home. Even today, maybe especially today.
That's incredibly insightful, especially thinking this was back in 2007. The whole agile movement, the need for speed we talk about constantly now,
Yeah.
he was already championing it.
He really was.
And he drew this brilliant contrast between centuries. He said the 19th century was about eliminating variation in production, the classic factory assembly line ideal.
Standardization.
Right. Whereas the 21st century, he argued, is about managing variations to create products. That's a huge mindset shift. It's moving from standardization as the goal to, managing fluidity and change.
It really is. It fundamentally shifts the focus from rigid consistency to adaptable creativity. Think about, highly customizable SaaS platforms today, or even fast fashion brands that can pivot designs weekly based on real-time data.
Good examples.
That's a practical example of managing variation to create products. However, even with all these sort of radical ideas, Singham also reinforced his view that the problem of improving global software development, it would take a long time to resolve.
So even with these groundbreaking insights, he knew it would be a long road. Why do you think he felt it was such a long-term problem? What kind of, inertia was he up against? Is that still true?
Oh, I think it's the sheer scale of human behavior change, honestly. Large industries, entrenched ways of doing things, existing power structures, they often resist radical shifts, right? Even when there's clear evidence of inefficiency.
Changing habits is hard.
It's not just about technology. It's about organizational culture. It's about human habits. It's about how we fundamentally think about work. And yes, absolutely, I think that inertia persists today. Many of the challenges Singham identified back in R7 are still really active conversations in tech.
Like scaling agile.
Scaling agile, fostering true global collaboration, improving efficiency. The unfinished revolution he saw is, Definitely still ongoing.
Okay, so let's bring this together. What does this all mean for, for you listening right now? To recap, we've explored Roy Singham's vision for Thoughtware,
Right, that core concept.
how he birthed Thoughtworks with his emphasis on heart and head, their really unique global and flat organizational
It's a
model.
rotation program.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And of course, there's pretty provocative insights into why software development needs to be faster, more efficient, and maybe learn from seemingly unrelated industries like, well, automotive manufacturing.
And these historical insights, from over a decade ago, they still resonate really profoundly with our current challenges. Efficiency, innovation, global collaboration, all still huge topics.
So understanding these foundational ideas from Thoughtworks, from Singham, can genuinely inform modern thinking.
I absolutely think so. It can help us approach technology and work today, whether you're actually building software or, managing any complex project.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to maybe mull over. If the 21st century truly is the century of thoughtware, as D. Hock and Singham believed, and our main task is to manage variations to create products, what are the biggest variations you were trying to manage? Maybe in your work or even in your personal life?
And taking that Toyota analogy further, what hidden Toyotas might exist in other fields, maybe art or biology or even something like cooking, fields that seem totally unrelated,
Right.
that could potentially revolutionize your approach to problem solving? Something to think about.